didn't do it. Did it. Today's episode is called The Menopause Finale. Do. What a finale. End on a high. That's what I say. So let's talk about the menopause. When I speak about it with my friends, none of us grew up in households where menopause was spoken about. We come from generations of women that just suffered in silence and didn't know how to talk about it, I guess. They had a lot to get on with. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was hard. It was hard. Women going through the menopause were demonized. It was almost like, that's it. End of. Game over. You are finito kaput. No more. No more, lady. The nagging, bitter, old woman who no longer bleeds from her vagina. Sorry, I shouldn't have said that. Old, past it, over the hill. You know, end. Last stop, menopause. Get off and get out. Fast forward to modern times, and I feel like we communicate about menopause a whole lot more. I mean, you only have to go on social media to see all of the amazing women who are leading the communication around menopause. If you've followed me during this series, you'll know I'm a talk about it kind of girl. And I think it is important to understand what menopause is and how it affects us all. Because what I realize is going through the perimenopause, you know, there are moments where you just feel, but, and I can only talk for myself, but you do feel like you want to strangle people, just like PMT. It's just extended PMT, all the joys. Let's talk about it some more. I need some help. Hi, Amanda.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I follow Amanda on Instagram account Meno Health Nurse.
That's right.
I started following you because you was doing some great updates on the menopause and perimenopause. So thank you for joining. I appreciate it. So please tell us a little bit more about yourself and what you do.
I have been a registered nurse for 25 years. I started doing menopause education about almost 4 years ago now. I've been on my own like health and wellness journey for about 10 years and lost like 140 pounds on my own, like diet, like with nutrition and exercise. So I thought, you know what? I'd love to help people in this capacity. So I initially decided I was going to get my personal training. While I was getting that certification and, you know, just kind of looking into subspecialties and how I could like niche myself, I started to attract women who were also around my age, right? I was attracting like women in their 40s who were like me, who just wanted to start working out. As I'm talking to these ladies, they're like, oh man, like, you know, they're just talking about all these symptoms that they're having, their hot flashes. You know, I'm like, it's kind of sounded like all these women are like, you know, menopausal. How can I support these women better, like from a hormonal standpoint? And then lo and behold, I came across a certification program for a menopause specialist. And it was specifically for someone who is a medical professional and or a fitness professional working in a medical setting. So it was perfect for me because I was both. So I became a menopause specialist. Then I just like went feet first into the whole menopause world. And from there, it sort of blew up. I service mostly women over 40 and who just want to, you know, make symptoms better for themselves and have better longevity and learn about their body and what's happening.
Credit to you for taking up the mantle, because I think there is a real thirst, obviously, as you've seen, for knowledge. I don't blame the older generation because women were you know, you had to suffer in silence as a woman. You talk about, you know, what you was going through as a woman. That was not permitted.
Well, I never heard my mother talk about it.
My mum never did.
Almost like never.
I think we're all a lot younger than our
Mm-hmm.
parents were at these ages. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Amanda, I remember 60-year-olds when I was growing up. They don't look like 60-year-olds now. Like, do you know what I mean? I remember 50-year-olds.
No,
They don't look like them now.
no. I
So,
remember 40-something-year-olds, they don't look like, I mean, I'm
absolutely.
46. Like,
Girl,
I look in the mirror and I'm like, I'm not really 40.
no, I'm
I'm
50
46.
in 2 months.
Like, yeah, like
50. And I'm like,
you don't
what?
look like that. Yeah.
No
You're not
way.
the Golden Girls
Yeah.
who were apparently in their late 40s and 50s, early 50s, or
50-year-olds don't look like the Golden Girls
mm-mm,
anymore. They really
no.
don't. That's so funny. There are so many menopause influencers out there now. And you are like top 100 menopause influencers in the world, right?
Number 27 or 28 or something like that. Yeah. Even this year, I'm still
Awesome.
kind of hanging out around 28. Yeah.
Incredible. And congrats. And
Thank
thank
you.
you for putting out loads of useful content, which
Mhm.
people are learning from. So tell me, I'm going to ask you a few questions about the menopause, Amanda.
Mhm.
Brace
Mhm.
yourself.
Okay. Bring it
If
on.
So first of all, there's like the perimenopause and then there's the menopause. So can
Mhm.
you clarify the difference between the two?
Sure. So perimenopause is the transition period that happens before your last menstrual period. So perimenopause can start as early as 35 years old. So you can start having very subtle symptoms. There might be a slight change in your period, or you might feel a little anxious. Something's off, but I'm not sure what it is,
Mm.
right? And then as you hit your mid 40s generally, that's when you start to see bigger signs of things changing, right? There's really big swings in your period, maybe if you still have a period. Some women develop, severe mood disorders, anxiety, depression. Definitely there could be changes in your sex drive. Some women get urinary leaking and vaginal dryness. There's over 100 symptoms associated with perimenopause, and these are all related to the very drastic hormonal shifts that are happening. Right? We know that perimenopause is triggered by lower ovarian production. At birth, we have all of our egg supply. So over the years, every time we ovulate, we lose 10,000 eggs. By the time we start getting symptoms, our egg supply might be less than 1,000. And that's triggering like the brain is not getting enough estrogen anymore. So because of this critically low level of eggs that are there, the ovaries don't want to produce hormones anymore. There's not enough egg supply there to trigger ovulation. That's sort of perimenopause in a nutshell.
Right.
It's that transition period from when we start to cease ovulation to when we have our last period. Menopause is exactly 12 months, 365 days from your last menstrual period. So menopause literally is one day. One day.
No,
Day
wait a minute. Hold the
Day
phone. See,
366, you are considered postmenopausal. It's called the menopause, but it actually has like three, and if I really want to get technical, it actually has four phases, right? So there's an early perimenopausal phase, there's a late perimenopausal phase, and then you've got menopause, which is one day, and then you have postmenopause, which is what we are considered to be for the rest of our life.
I definitely didn't grow up with the knowledge of perimenopause. It was always just menopause.
The menopause,
And
yeah.
the fact that, there are four phases, you just think it's just one big dirty old phase. Like,
Our body is full of estrogen receptors. From our brain right down to our big toe, we have estrogen receptors everywhere and progesterone, but estrogen is the major player. We're no longer being flooded with all this estrogen in our bodies like we were when we were 20 years old. That's now starting to decrease. These receptors are like, where's my estrogen? Where's my estrogen? That it's not getting it. And then that's where symptoms come from. That's a
Oh,
response from our endocrine system from not having enough hormone, is all these other symptoms that happen. Estrogen is what tells the brain that it has to do things. Well, when you're not shooting that much estrogen into the brain anymore, guess what happens? The receptors in the brain start to misfire a little bit, and they're like, what's going on? That's where some of the depression and the anxiety starts rolling in, because we're not producing estrogen progesterone anymore,
so
right? Progesterone is also a calming hormone, so it actually helps us stay calm and like reduces anxiety naturally. The more typical symptoms that women identify with is like changes in mood, brain fog, reduced concentration, poor sleep. Their sleep
yeah,
is off. Yeah.
yeah.
Their periods are a mess.
I mean, I told you about the itchy ears, and it was through your Instagram that I realized that that wasn't me going crazy, that that actually was a symptom, because I would get this itch, like there was ants in my ears,
Yep.
and I'm like, what the
Mhm.
hell is going on here? And then there's also the skin was crawling, like I felt like I had
Bugs
fleas or
crawling
something.
all over
And I'm
you.
like this all the
Hmm.
time. I'm like, what's going on with me? And if
Hmm.
I hadn't have seen your post, I just would have thought, well, obviously
I'm
I
going
am
crazy.
infested and I need to go. I need
No.
to scrub myself
Oh
daily.
no. Or uncommon symptoms, like we talked about the itchy ears. Joint pain is another one. Urinary incontinence is another one. Some women develop digestive issues. Acid reflux is another one. Or
Yeah.
if they've had like severe PMS or PMDD, it actually worsens during this time.
Black and brown women seem to have different symptoms, or certainly have more intense symptoms. Why is that?
I think it's a combination of um, our genetic makeup for sure, our lived experience, our trauma, because we carry generational trauma. Like we carry trauma in our bodies, right? And I probably carry trauma from my grandmother and her mother. Our lived experience with it is very different. Depending on where we live, access to care is different. We know that, Blacks and Latinas are more susceptible to metabolic syndromes and like cardiovascular stuff. So, Black and brown people, we have far more intense hot flashes that last a lot longer. And we do know that cardiovascular disease is linked to hot flashes. And our perimenopause experience can last up to 10 years or more versus,
For sakes.
yeah,
Not fair.
versus the lady in Japan. It might be 4 years for her.
Wow.
They have the shortest. We know Black and brown people are the least likely to use HRT. And again, that's coming from our lived experience of not trusting the medical community, from medical racism. And the other thing too, I mean, there's not a whole lot of representation in the menopause space of Black and brown people. I'm hoping more people are coming online with that, but yeah, we're really trying to make more awareness that even from a cultural standpoint, there are many ethnicities that have different lived experiences when it comes to menopause and what our experience is, right? And I think a big part of that is getting the education out there to our Black and brown communities so that they can feel comfortable advocating for themselves, right?
Yes. Yes.
Mhm.
Love it. Thank you. Well, could you advise any viewers where they could go to look at a list, like a comprehensive list
Oh
of
gosh, yes.
symptoms?
There's so many books out there. Like, um, a really good one is the one by Mary Claire Haver. She lists out a ton of different symptoms. Hers is called the New Menopause, and now she has one called the New Perimenopause. So Dr. Heather Hirsch just released a book about perimenopause. We start to see shifts metabolically too, right? So a lot of women are like, "Oh, I don't have any symptoms of menopause." But then if they go to the doctor and they do some blood work or they have an exam done, they find out they have high blood pressure, their cholesterol's high out of nowhere, even though they have a decent diet. They start to show signs of metabolic syndrome, so they might have a higher, what they call an A1C. So it's a marker for insulin resistance, and if it's too high, then you're type 2 diabetic. Some women develop fatty liver syndrome. They have high visceral fat levels, which is that brown, metabolically active fat that sits in the abdomen and it sits around the organs and stuff. It's not the fat under the skin, it's the internal fat. And that stuff is what causes issues. So a lot of women develop those types of metabolic things, even though they may not have other symptoms as well, right? Osteoporosis is another one. So that's the thinning and the making the bones brittle.
So what would you say, Amanda, is the best thing to do if you are experiencing these symptoms?
I always recommend if you start to notice something is off, start journaling it. Write down, when you get a hot flash, track your periods. Write down any strange symptoms that you might be experiencing. Some women get heart palpitations, right? That can be a scary one. So there are some symptoms that show up that will trigger a woman to immediately go to the doctor. So heart palpitations is one, her period being off is one, severe anxiety might be another one. I always recommend writing down your symptoms, getting a good maybe 2 to 3 month window of stuff so that when you go to your doctor to advocate for yourself, you have some data to show, right? If you're in your 40s and you haven't seen a doctor in a few years, don't wait for more symptoms to show up. Go get your physical done, get your blood work done, make sure your doctor is actually ruling out all the things, right?
If you are in perimenopause and HRT is an option, do you support HRT?
I'm on HRT.
Oh, so what is your experience with that then?
So HRT is so individual for everyone. It's not appropriate for all women, right? There are contraindications that stand out for HRT. So if you have a personal history of any female cancers, you're likely not a candidate.
Right.
If you have uncontrolled high blood pressure or cardiac disease, or if you've had a stroke, if you have liver issues, you're not a candidate. The majority of healthy women are candidates for HRT. Some women do very well with topical applications, which could be a cream, a gel, or a patch.
I was prescribed the progesterone with the topical gel, the estro gel.
Yep, that's the one I'm on.
And
Estrogen.
I started it and I did feel a sense of, the only way I can describe it is I felt a sense of balance and I could think clearly again.
Yep.
And then I don't know why I got a little bit, I don't know why I got a bit scared of it and I just stopped taking it.
A lot of women still carry the fear of breast cancer and the commentary around HRT from 20 something years ago, which now has been debunked, right? We know now that HRT is actually safe. And the incidence of breast cancer taking HRT, I think, is somewhere around 4%. Even having a family history
Yeah.
now doesn't necessarily preclude you from being able to have HRT. Those are individual risk factors that your doctor has to look at, because not all breast cancers are hormone receptive. It's even safer taken through the skin. So you even have less side effects from HRT if you have a topical preparation. So definitely there's more side effects taking it orally, but think about the birth control pill,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
Exactly.
we're okay taking birth control, we're not okay taking HRT. When we go into full menopause,
Yeah.
when we are no longer having a period, we go from estrogen levels of 500 to 5. literally is nothing left. Very little.
Wow.
Whatever estrogen is running around is being basically
Wow.
made by our fat cells in the form of but in the form of estrone.
Is there a way to naturally replace estrogen in your body?
No, not effectively. Some would argue that if you could get some estrogen through like plant estrogens, but it's not estradiol. It's not the hormone that we need,
Right.
right? There's different types of estrogen.
Mhm.
So the female body has three main types of estrogen. We have estradiol, which is made in the ovaries, which is our primary estrogen. This is the good estrogen. This is the stuff that's running around for the first 45 years of our life before it decides to go to like leave the chat. Then we have estriol, which is like a much weaker form of estrogen, but I believe this is the one that comes out during pregnancy. Then we have estrone. So, estrone is a very weak estrogen that is made by our fat tissue. And this is the one that is shows up primarily after menopause. So our fat cells, this is another reason why we gain weight in menopause, is because our body is trying to compensate. So by having this extra fat on our bodies, we create more estrone, but estrone is weak and it causes inflammation. Whereas estradiol is anti-inflammatory. So it helps keep the inflammation down because that's what our body needs
So how do we get estradiol through HRT?
through HRT.
Right.
Yeah, HRT is relatively safe. And like I said, it's not going to look the same for everybody. And there are some women who are on systemic HRT, right? So that's what topical and oral are. But some women still need additional hormone support in the vagina. The vagina and the vulva and like that whole pelvic area is an estrogen receptor minefield. The oral estrogens or the topical estrogens sometimes don't really get down there really well if you are really
Of
having issues with dryness, pain, urinary tract infections. Vaginal estrogen has now become like a first line of defense. And you can take vaginal estrogen with systemic estrogen because vaginal estrogen does not go systemic. It stays local. Not a candidate for systemic HRT, you very likely can still have some benefit for treating the pelvic stuff with local vaginal estrogen.
vaginal estrogen.
It is a game changer, just saying.
Oh, well, do you know what?
Because I'm on that too.
Really? I may well have to look up that shit, quite
Yeah.
frankly. I feel that there is a sense of embarrassment and shame that comes from women around this topic, Amanda.
I mean, again, it goes back to like how we've been programmed as women, right? Like
Yeah.
my mother didn't talk about it. I mean, my aunts didn't talk about it. And it also could be a cultural thing too, right? So like coming from a Caribbean background, we don't talk about that. We've always been told it's part of life. Oh, it just happens when you get old. You're just getting old. Um, you know, like it's been so unaddressed and unstudied. No one studied it, right? Until 30 years ago,
That's mad. That's
right?
in our lifetime. That's in
It's
our
our
lifetime.
lifetime. The conversations were just never there. And it's not that they weren't allowed to happen, it's just that no one cared to do it.
Yeah.
And now, when people actually started talking more about menopause, even the older women are like, wow, I wish someone had talked to me about that. Or it was 2012 when they really started to look at HRT again and run more proper studies on it, more clinical trials on it, and
Uh,
started using estradiol, like like body identical estradiol, body identical progesterones. And that's when they started realizing that it's not as nefarious as you think it is. It's
Yeah.
actually helpful. We know that we can actually prescribe HRT to prevent osteoporosis. It's actually going to stop your bone from breaking down,
Wow.
right? Because our bones are full of estrogen receptors. It's protective for the brain for developing dementias. It's cardioprotective. We know that we have estrogen receptors in our heart and in our blood vessels and in our liver. And we know that if we take HRT, we know that the estrogen in that is going to keep our vessels elastic. It's going to keep them healthier.
Last question.
Yeah.
Is there are two questions. Does diet and exercise help with menopausal symptoms?
1000%. So, with nutrition, for sure, you want to support your body during this time. Our nutrition requirements change during
Yeah.
perimenopause.
Yeah.
Our fiber needs increase. We want to make sure that we're getting enough fiber so that we are, like, first of all, clearing everything out that we need
Mm.
to.
Mm.
But fiber also helps us manage if you have some insulin resistance or metabolic syndrome, it helps us manage those insulin levels. It helps reduce the amount of blood sugar that kind of floats out into the bloodstream at once. So it slows that down. It slows down digestion so that we're not overeating. It helps stabilize blood sugars. And the same with getting enough protein. So making sure that you've got enough lean protein on board for a few reasons. Same reason as fiber to help with insulin resistance
Mhm.
and stabilizing blood sugars, but also for muscle preservation. We lose muscle mass as after 40 rapidly, very, very quickly. And that has to do with our bone mass too. So our bone mass is decreasing, our muscle mass is decreasing. That's where osteoporosis comes in. With the loss of the muscle mass, metabolism starts to slow, fat gain starts to go up, right? Our body composition changes. Making sure
Oh,
that we have enough protein on board, we're going to ensure that it's going to help us keep our muscle mass intact. And of course, it's going to help like keep our hair on our head and like our skin and our nails need the protein. So as this rapid muscle degeneration is happening, we're breaking that down quicker than we're replacing it. So we want to make sure we've got adequate protein on board. Obviously, hydration, you want to make sure that you're hydrating. Um, because with the lower metabolism, we're not, some people find that their appetites change quite a bit too. Um, and of course, you just want to make sure that you're eating to support your heart health, right? Our risks of developing heart disease increases. So we want to make sure that we are eating as best as we can to support our bodies in that way. As far as exercise goes, after 40, it is highly recommended that women strength train, not just beat it out on a treadmill. Weight training is actually what is going to help you really maintain that muscle and bone mass. That's how you get the muscle build, and that's how you protect your bones. So the more strength training that you can do in your 40s and 50s, the better your 60s, 70s, and 80s are going to be. It's going to help protect your mobility and your independence and lessen your likelihood of falling and fracturing your hip. We know that like adding in not just good nutrition, but movement and intentional movement like yoga and Pilates and stuff like that, really great for your bones and muscles, but also really good for stress reduction.
yeah, makes sense. And give us a good example or a good source of protein, a good source of fiber.
Some of the best sources of protein, obviously, are your lean proteins. So if you're eating meat, you want to get like lean chicken, lean turkey. Fish is an excellent source of protein. Your salmon, your mackerel, your tuna, your fattier fishes. Those have something called omega-3 fatty acids. Of course, your eggs are a really good source of protein, but Eggs don't have a lot of protein per egg. So like one egg is probably like 8 grams of protein, where you're really looking to consume somewhere about 30 grams of protein per meal.
Okay. That's a
30
lot of
to
eggs.
40 per meal. That's a lot of eggs. So unless you really like eggs, like, you might have to combine that with some other things,
So that's at least 90 to 100 grams a day, at least.
at least. Hmm.
Right.
Some
Good to
other
know.
really good sources of protein is like cottage cheese, Greek yogurt, any kind of vegetable. Vegetable and fruits are your best sources of fiber.
And so what about bread? Is bread all right? I mean, bread.
I don't label foods as good and bad. You want to view food as fuel. So you
Yeah.
want to think about what's going to fuel my body better, but what can I still have and enjoy? I don't believe in telling people cut carbs or cut bread. If you're going to have bread, have bread.
You're a good person, Amanda.
Are there other breads that you can choose? Absolutely. I love sourdough. Sourdough is fermented, right? So the fermentation kind of eats up the glutens and stuff in there, and it leaves when it bakes. Yeah, a lot of that bacteria like cooks off, but it
Yeah.
also leaves its microbiome behind in the bread. So when you consume sourdough, you're consuming a bread that is lower on the glycemic index. It doesn't spike your blood sugar as much as like say regular bread would.
Yeah.
So it's lower glycemic index, and you're getting something that's actually really good for your gut because of the lactobacillus
I'm
that's in it. If I'm going to eat bread, I'm going to have a piece of sourdough. I now make sourdough English muffins. They're so good. I would never buy them in the store again. I make sourdough bagels, never buying them in the store again.
Oh, I'm getting hungry. I am getting hungry. Last question. Is there life after menopause?
Oh, so much. This is the part we don't talk about.
I know.
Is the freedom that comes with menopause. Like I have found since I have been in this hormonal shift that my give a shit meter is gone. Like I just don't care. I will say what I say. I will do what I do, and I don't care. Like
Oh,
if it's not making me happy, money, or like, calm, I don't want no part of it. And I have
girl.
no problem saying no.
Menopause is about transformation. And yes, there is that kind of gritty adjustment, and there is kind of getting to know a new physical version of you as well,
Mhm.
but the emotional and mental as well that makes you kind of view your life differently. And well,
Differently.
actually, no, no, I actually want more for myself.
Yeah, you start taking a little bit more time with those kinds of thoughts, right? You're just kind of
Yeah,
like, no, that doesn't serve me anymore. Or, your friendships might change. It does affect your relationship,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Um,
definitely.
it's just, but it's that time where a lot of women decide, I don't want to be in this career anymore. Right? A lot of women become entrepreneurs in menopause, right? They're in their late 40s, 50s, starting whole new businesses. Society has menopausal women like as washed up. Was maybe that was the case, I don't know, 100 years ago because we didn't talk about it. We
Yeah.
didn't,
We didn't
you
have
know,
much choice.
we didn't have much choice. We didn't have autonomy back then,
Yeah,
right? Most women were at home. But now, as we're, into this generation, women are far more autonomous now. And when that estrogen filter's gone,
yeah.
you just kind of like, no, I don't care. Or
Preach,
that's
preach.
that's not for me anymore. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, it's if we can frame it that way, like I think the world would be a better place.
Oh, girl. Yes, that is the point.
So much our femininity is wrapped around fertility
Yes.
that they forget that we outlive that. We outlive
Ooh.
our fertility. Say we start going through menopause at 45, right? But say you live to 90. You've lived half your life in menopause.
Yeah. Exactly. So live it well.
Might as well.
There is life after menopause, and we can deal with it openly, more communicatively, and find the ways that are going to help us to navigate the symptoms. So thank you so much for
You're
putting your
welcome.
knowledge out there so women can start to sort of rationalize what's going on when they're going through the menopause. So thank you for joining FatBitz. I
Yeah,
appreciate you.
thank you for having me.
Please tell the FatBitz viewers, all three of them, please tell them please tell them like where they can find you, what is your Insta handle, all that good stuff.
So you can find me on Instagram. My handle is at Menno Health Nurse. You can also check out my website, www.mennohealthnurse.com. I highlight just some of my services on there, but I also have a section that has some free downloads and
Great.
resources that are available.
I had newfound knowledge of the menopause because of this conversation, and I know that it's going to have the same impact on others. So thank you again, Amanda.
Thank you for
Thank you,
having
my
me.
lovely. Keep doing the good work.
Okay.
All the very best.
Thank you. You too.
So thanks to Amanda Otterman. That was such an incredible chat. Really insightful. It never ceases to amaze me how much I personally don't know about the menopause. So I hope you found it useful too. And on that note, cup of tea. God, gasping. Talking about the menopause is thirsty work. I'm ready to serve that cup of tea. And today's treat, a classic ginger nut. Oh yeah, don't knock it. I know there's lots of people out there that don't like ginger nuts. I can't relate to them, Ovie. And a ginger nut dunked is the best ginger nut of all. The whole reason why I started FatBitz was to talk about things and just lighten the load a little bit. Do you know what I mean? Because we're all going through stuff as women. We're collectively going through a lot. There's a lot of stuff that throws you off track, right? But you've got to find the light and find the humour, laugh at it all, because we're only here for a little bit. Do you know what I mean? I hope you've enjoyed FatBitz series as much as I've enjoyed making it. I will be back later on this year. I'm going bigger, badder, bolder, wiser. And that's about it. I can't find any other words. And so from me to you, lots of love. Stay strong, my sisters. Stay strong. Have a laugh. If you don't laugh, you are done for. Say bye, Harley. Say later, ladies. See you next time.